Should we come to other matters? As I've told you countless times, and I'll say it again, to me they are nothing more than death traps. To others they're smart motorways, but good work by the Sunday Telegraph, using the Freedom of Information Act, has found what some of the emergency services think of them. And they say that scrapping the hard shoulder has created serious difficulty for emergency services trying to reach motorists injured on smart motorways. And these are files within Highways England. The paper, the Sunday Telegraph, found a log of communications from the government-owned company that showing its staff it had offered to hand-stop traffic and divert ambulances the wrong way down a carriageway to reach a motorist dying after being stranded in a live lane after a breakdown. We're going to be speaking to someone whose life was touched by this. It was obtained, as I say, under the FOI, Freedom of Information Act, shows for the first time the problems created by turning the hard shoulder into a fourth lane. Now, the files document attempts to reach Derek Jacobs, who was 83, who lost his life after being hit as he tried to repair his van after failing to reach an emergency refuge area on the M1. This was almost 2 years ago last month. Charles Scripps, who was 78, was a passenger in a car involved in the accident. He also lost his life some weeks later in a hospital. This all has now been made public. And his Mr. Jacobs' widow, Sally, who's 83, is quoted in the newspaper article and joins me again because we have spoken in the past. I saw your name in that newspaper article, and just tell my listeners what you've told the journalists. Good morning.
Oh, yes, good morning, Nick, once again. Can you speak up? I can hardly hear.
I'm so sorry. I was just saying, I saw your comments in the newspaper yesterday. Can you just tell my listeners what you told that journalist, Mrs. Jacobs?
Yes, I said to them that I have been ticking on about the you can't get the emergency services down, but nobody seemed to be listening. But my main point was there, in my book, if you kill somebody accidentally, that is manslaughter.
Yes.
But they know what they're doing. They're killing people. So that surely now is murder. That's what I stated there, and I've said it many times. And, of course, they couldn't get to my Derek, as I've said to you before. It was closed for 9 hours, the motorway. And, as you said, they brought it in the other way. The Freedom, the document they've got now, the Telegraph chap said he would send it to me, and then he said he'd rather not. Because it would make difficult reading. But, of course, Nick, it goes round and round in my mind because there hasn't been an inquest after 2 years. I don't really know what went on. It's only, different people.
Yes.
But one thing that did console me, the porter said to me that he died within an hour, so he wouldn't have suffered. That was the main thing, that him being there suffering when people couldn't get to him. Do you understand?
I do. It's been a little over 2 years. Why do you keep talking about this? Why do you keep campaigning about this, Mrs. Jacobs?
Because it's very painful, but I don't want it to happen to anybody else. I want to stop any other family grieving in the way that this family is grieving. I mean, we did a forum a few weeks back with Claire and MPs and the press.
That's one of the other campaigns.
And I had to listen to other people. And one of the Asian chap, I can't think of his name, the son and daughter were there.
Right.
And they pulled off where there was no lighting, and he had to watch his wife being killed in front of his eyes.
Mrs. Jacobs, thanks for coming on. Sally Jacobs is the widow of Derek Jacobs, who lost his life at 83. That is the fatality to which this report mentions. I just has to clarify, it's not appropriate to take on the widow, but of course there's no suggestion. Murder means that each day Highways England get up and decide they're going to do this. I would argue that there are open charges of manslaughter, but I think we just need to, not that it was appropriate to do it with the widow, we just need to press pause there. Not in any way, neither am I nor LBC suggesting in any way that Highways England are guilty of murder. Let me tell you what they say. They're refusing to issue full comment, but they say our sympathies remain with the families and friends of Mr. Jacobs and Mr. Scripps. He was the other fatality from this action. They go on, as there is an ongoing police investigation, it would be inappropriate to comment further on the detail. That's fine, but it doesn't stop me commenting that I think these are absolutely wrong and they have to be stopped. Yesterday, Rudy in Bristol, what do you say? Good morning.
I think they have to be stopped. And one of the points I'd like you to ask Grant Chaps is his advert that Highway Agency keep putting out about go left, and get out your car, go left. Well, how does that work with a disabled person then?
Sorry, I don't under. If you can turn off at the next lay-by. If you have a disability,
on the advert they're campaigning, which is on your station.
No, I've heard
TV,
it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're asking people to get out the passenger door.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant turn the car off. I'm so sorry. I've got it. So he or she is meant to clamber over the gear stick, if there is such a thing, and make the... Right, I see, which in some instances is going to be impossible, is what you're saying. Sorry, I'm with you now.
Yeah, well, if the person is disabled, it's going to be absolutely impossible.
Yeah. No, okay.
The whole thing is just... the whole thing, they make a mockery of the whole thing, when in fact, it's those people have got blood on their hands because they've got so much evidence that it's so dangerous, but they choose to carry on and build them at the taxpayers' expense. It's just outrageous, Nick.
You're absolutely right. I have asked the Transport Secretary whether he'd be prepared to park on one of those with his family in the car. He's declined to think there's that. That's the next question for him. The idea of climbing out of the left-hand side of your car if you're in a wheelchair or other disabilities, that's going to be virtually impossible. Good point, something I should have picked up on. Rudy, rest assured, I don't think it will be for a while, because as you've probably heard, and I doubt that you've missed them, but there hasn't been a government minister today, and there won't be a government minister tomorrow, and there won't be one the day after, because all of that campaigning and politicking has been suspended because of the death of the Duke of Edinburgh. But I'm waving at a colleague to make sure when we get Grant Shapps that we do put that to him about disabilities. Thank you, Rudy. Roy and Stevenage, same subject. What do you want to tell me? Good morning.
Nick, hello there.
Hello, sir.
As driving the trucks, if I see a car on the live lane broken down, you phone the control centre, and then they take details and they have to check if they already have it logged, and then they pass that to the control room, and it just goes on and on. There's no, it could take 10 or 15 minutes before they change that live lane to a stranded vehicle, to warn motorists. And also the refuge areas, they're so small, they don't accommodate a heavy vehicle plus a large recovery vehicle in front. They're not long enough.
Sorry, so what are you're driving a lorry, are you? Is that what you do, sir?
Yes.
Right, okay.
And often you see, and the worst thing is now is if you're passing a service area and cars are coming out at, or a small van or anything, or caravans, they come out, they can't accelerate up to 60, 70 mile an hour immediately. And you get cars just pulling out into live lanes, and if it's busy,
and they've not allowed for your velocity, your speed, the momentum you're travelling at.
You see it every day, people pulling out and everybody braking and trying to move over, and it's chaos. They just cause chaos.
Do you think there's any way they can be managed safely, or are you, like me, having to say they just cannot work, they need to be scrapped?
They can't work. They can't work. As I said, it's just nonsense. Whoever thought of this has got the blood on his hands. It's terrible.
Well, I'll tell you what it'll be. It'll be people who've never driven. There'll be professors. There'll be professors of road surfacing or something like that who possibly go out once on a Sunday down to the shops.
I'd gladly take them out in a truck and show them just what it's just
the reality of it. Safe driving as a professional, Roy. Thank you. We'll continue our coverage of lockdown or easing of lockdown. Booking a table at a restaurant after this.